Hello, my name's Andrea and I'm making this video to show how I've been able to work around exporting AAF in Sony Vegas Pro. I have Sony Vegas Pro 12.0, so if you have a different version, hopefully this workaround will also work for you. If it doesn't, unfortunately, I do not think I can help you because I'm not an expert. I just know that I had problems exporting an AAF out of Sony Vegas Pro, and after a lot of research and a lot of time and asking a lot of experts, people that work in sound digitally, we've been able to figure this out. So hopefully this helps some of you. Okay, so this is a project I just completed. I won't do the whole thing here, but I'll show you the steps anyway. So this is my project. It's locked down, it's finished, so I'm ready to make an AAF. So this is what I've titled it, Master. This is the date, 2018 of January 9. So I want to make sure that this is saved, and I want to save a new one. That way this one's here, it will always be here. So I'm going to put AAF at the back of this. In fact, I may just make a new folder, that way it's clean. Folder AAF, and I'll go in here and save it inside there. Okay, so one of the first problems I came up with is on the AAF, it exports like every single file that you have in there. So you want to make sure that we get rid of anything that it's not actually using. So I go to, which one is it? Clean Project Media. So that takes out anything that I had pulled into the project that I didn't actually end up using in the timeline. Okay, so the next thing you want to do is you want to separate all of the video from the audio. So the shortcut for that is to hit Control A. I'm on a PC. If you're on a Mac, I think it's Command A. So Control A selects all, so right click and go to Group and go to Remove From. So now no file, no subclip is connected to another. We can be sure that if we delete anything, it's not going to take away the audio that was with it. So instead of like clicking on each and every video file to delete it, we're just going to select each video track, right click it, there we go, right click it and go to delete track, and that will just delete the whole thing. Delete track, right click, delete track. Of course, make sure that you don't accidentally delete an audio track, because that would make everything off. Delete track, and maybe I'll just fast forward the video so you don't have to watch me do each and every single one. Okay, so now we only have audio, which is great, it's what we want. So the next thing that you want to do is, when I'm going through and playing around with stuff, I might put in an audio clip that I don't use the audio. So if I find an audio where the volume's just turned all the way down, I'm just going to go ahead and delete it. So anytime you find one that's just completely turned down, then delete it. That's going to make the next steps easier. Scroll down. I think this one's turned up. Let's see. Zoom in, zoom out. Okay. Everything everything else is on. Is this one on? Doesn't look like it. Yep. So let's delete that. Zoom in a little bit. Yeah, that one's on. Delete that one. Zooming out. Scrolling up and down, making sure I got everything. I had this whole row muted. Is there even anything on it? No, so I might as well just delete it. Delete track. Okay. Alright, what about these guys right here? These are all turned off. So delete, delete, delete. And of course I'm using just the delete key on my keyboard to delete them. Now just because you don't see wavelengths in there doesn't mean that there's no sound in it. Just FYI. Okay, this one doesn't have sound, neither does this or this or this. This one has no sound. What about this one? Sound, sound, sound. Is that the end? I think that might have been the end. Okay, so now we want to hit save. Make sure every time you do a major step like that, that you hit save. And we're still under the AAF, so that's good. Okay, so even though you deleted all the video files in your timeline, you still have video files in the in this project file. So the part where I really got tripped up was I would export into an AAF, but then it was still taking all these video files, and then once I did this next step that I'm about to tell you, I had yet an additional problem, which I'll kind of explain as I'm going along. So I guess what I'm saying is you might listen to this next step and say, oh, okay, and then go do it on your own and then encounter the problem that I then encounter. So I'll try to get to it as quick as I can, and in case you're really fast and you kind of know what I'm going to say. So here's the thing. This is a tedious part, but it actually doesn't take as long as you think it will. Basically, you have to replace each and every one of these bits with a WAV file that does not have the video file attached to it, because when you export the AAF, it's actually going to pull from all of this, not from all of this. So if you don't know how to replace a video or replace a file somewhere, normally you would go in here and say, okay, I want to replace this file with, you know, something else, and it would do it, and then it would translate it to everything down here. It's a great thing. So the problem is that whenever you're editing, and you know, you pull a clip into your preview and say, you know, this clip is, you know, a minute, 30 seconds or so, but let's say you only needed, you know, this 5 seconds right here, and you go create subclip, and then you pull the subclip into here, and that's going to create a video file, because I just did that. Then Vegas has translated this into a subclip. So, but whenever you export into an AAF, it's not going to understand the subclips. So you basically have to get rid of all your subclips, because the subclips are basically referring to this file. And so if you delete this file, it's a whole thing. So let me go ahead and delete this. So it's just adding it to show you something. Delete that video track. So here's what it is. Okay, so let's click on the first one. So we're going to go right click, open copy and audio editor. So if you haven't set it up first, you want to go into options. I believe it's options. Let me see. I believe it's preferences, and you go into audio, and you want to set up a preferred audio editor. I use Audacity. I don't know any other audio editor. Audacity is free. You can get it online. Don't ask me where. So for this purposes, it's fine. So open copy and audio editor. So it's going, see this right here? It's like rendering it, that file by itself, and then opening it in Audacity. Yeah, okay. And normally this is all, before this is all I would have to do. Then I would X out of this. Don't save changes. But then see what it did here is it re-rendered it into a WAV file. So select on project media list. So see now this, it says, now that this is a WAV file, when before it was a subclip of a Vegas file or a subclip of something else. So now it's a standalone, it's its own WAV file. And so there's not a video file attached to it. So here's the problem, the second level problem that I had. I'm sorry, I feel like I'm not explaining this very well. So what the second problem that I encountered after I did all of this was that for some reason in Audacity, it saves it as, you go to export audio, it would save it as, I think a 32-bit or a 64-bit, and it needs to just be a 16-bit. So, so all of these is from a different file that I did, so just to avoid confusion, let me make another folder in here and call it fourth, because that's kind of the name of this episode. It's about something fourth. So you want to make sure that it's saved under a 16-bit, whereas before it was saving it as something else. What? No. So you want to hit save. You are about to export a WAV file with the name. Normally these files end in .wav. Okay, so let me make sure that I type WAV at the end. Save. Okay. Okay, so see, I haven't replaced it yet. So this is, it says 32-bit right here. So that's what we don't want. So now I have to go in and hit replace. And since I found it before, when you save an Audacity, you have to, keep track of where you found it. So here's that folder I created, and you want to space this out so you can see. So you're going to have to keep track of all of this. So save that. Okay, so now it re-rendered. So let's take a look at it again. Properties. Now it says 16-bit. So it's a total pain in the ass, yes. But if you were struggling with all of this like I was, I'm sure that you're just happy that there's an answer. There's something. So let me do it a couple more times so that you can see. Open copy and audio editor. It's rendering. It's opening here. Go to File, Export Audio. Make sure that's 16-bit. Make sure it has a .wav, otherwise we're going to get that warning again. We're in this folder. So this one was 2D take 1, the other one was 1F take 1. Hopefully you have easier to see labels. Go to save. you don't need any of that jazz. And you can X out of this. You don't need to save the changes because you just needed the exported file. You don't need the project file. So now it's building the peaks. And just to double check, select in project media list. Let's go to properties. Okay, it's 32. So whenever you open copy in audio editor, it'll do that. But if you want to export, if you export the audio, it's not going to automatically put that in here. So you have to then go in and replace this. So this is 2D1. So we have 2D1. Open. Yeah, duh. And we go to properties, make sure it changed to 16-bit. Okay, I'll do it a couple more times. Selecting the next one. Open copy in audio editor. Go to file, export. That's going to be 16-bit. .wav. Hit save. Okay. Close this out. No. It's building peaks, but it's building the copy, not the exported thing we just did. Just to show you, go to properties, see it's 32-bit. That's not what we want. So we go to replace. 3C, take 2, 3C, take 2, open. Now that's good. And we go to properties, media, oh yeah, 16-bit, there we go. Okay, so once you get the hang of it, you'll kind of find yourself into a rhythm. So every time you do it, you'll get a little bit faster. Open copy in audio editor. File, export audio, 3C take 2, .wav, save, okay, X out. You could just minimize that, but then you'll have, 100 Audacity file things opened, and that might slow down your computer. Select in project video list, there it is. We've done this enough time to know what's happening, so we're just going to go straight to replace it. Get 3C take 2, 3C take 2. So you'll see that there's subclip 1 take 2, subclip 2 take 2, and you can, well, I guess you can see that it says subclip take 2, but if you're ever confused, like, wait, which one is it? Because it goes in alphabetical order, not in the order. So replace media file. This is what you're looking for, is 3C take 2. So just to prove it to you, even if I change it to this, this stays. So this is the name of what you're trying to replace, not what you're trying to replace it with. So, but what we're trying to replace it with has the same name, except for the very end. So yeah, this is the one. Open, and then you can just go on to the next one, because after you've done it enough times, you know that it's the right one. But just to show you, this is 16-bit. That's what you want. One more time, and then I'll skip to the end to show you what I did last. WAV. Save. Okay. X out. No. Select on project media list. Go to replace. Looking for 3C take 2, subclip 1 take 3. Oh, so see, that's a good example. See, now it's out of order. Okay. And then if you're ever unsure of what's happening, we've just done this, this, that, and that. So if I play it from the beginning for you, you'll see that it sounds right. Okay,
So here's an important element we haven't touched on yet in the 10 yards, 4 downs concept, the fourth down.
The fourth down.
Yes. So far, we've only really shown examples of teams successfully getting a first down.
That's because teams usually don't play the fourth down the same as the first 3 downs. The fourth down is different because it's their last chance to make the
Okay, so you see it sounds fine. Of course there's going to be no video up here because we deleted all the video. So now that we've done a few, I'm going to hit save, and then I'm going to skip to the end after I've done each and every single one of them and show you how I finished it off. Hey guys, I'm back, and I have replaced every single individual file with a WAV file and exported and made sure that it was 16-bit and not 32 or something weird like that. So the next thing that you want to do is to clean up your project media, and unfortunately if you go to tools and clean project media, the video files are still going to be there, unfortunately. And my theory on that is because the video files and the audio files that you pulled from it, that you remade through Audacity or whatever program, they have the same name, so I think it will remove it. So you have to go in here individually and remove it. So, and if you want to prove it to yourself, you can right click on it and say select timeline events, and you'll see that nothing is highlighted. But if you click on an audio file and say select timeline events, you'll see something light up. So, and to make doubly sure, what you want to do is to zoom out of your timeline so that you can see the whole thing, and go to the video file, select remove from project, and it's going to say, hey, whoa, are you sure? And you're going to say yes, yes to all, yes, yes. I could just say yes to all, but it's basically going to list every single one that you've subclip that you've used. I'm always getting that error. It's fine. I am going to hit save since it told me that. It makes me nervous. Okay, so I'm going to go through and do that with every single one. Remove project. Remove from project, yes to all. Remove from project. Did I just do it? Remove from project. Yes to all. 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 And so my timeline still seems to be intact, so it's fine. Okay, so let me double check and make sure I didn't miss anything. Okay, everything looks good. So then the next thing that you want to do is to play your timeline from the beginning and just give it a listen and make sure that everything sounds okay. Because something that could happen is when you're replacing the file up here, that maybe you selected the wrong one. So if this is a project that you've edited, you're pretty familiar with it, you should be able to hear straight away if there's something weird happening. So I'm actually going to pause the video and do that for myself, and then come back. Okay, back again. So I just gave a listen, and surprisingly, mine all sounded fine. I didn't screw up once. So the next check that you want to do with yourself before you actually export the AAF is to go through individually and check the properties and make sure that it either says 16-bit or 24-bit. I'm glad this is the first one I pulled up because I wanted to mention that if your files are 24-bit, I believe that's okay. If I send this to my sound guy and I turn out to be wrong, I'll have to remake this video. And so that I'm not saying that. Okay, so you want to go through each one of these individually, because what happens to me when I'm going through all of this is that I get into a flow, I kind of get on autopilot, and I might, you know, open a copy in Audacity and export the audio, but then I'll forget to replace it. So so what I'm looking for is right here, and if it says 32 IEEE or whatever that was, then I know that I forgot to replace it. So that's what I'm doing. So I may go ahead and pause the video because this is another kind of time-consuming step, but it's definitely an important one, because if you screwed up somewhere, then you're going to have to send your audio guy, your sound guy, or girl, that file individually and tell them where to use it and all that. So it kind of defeats part of the purpose of the AAF, you know, because if it's all correct, then it's all correct. You don't have to go back and patch it up. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and pause the video and come back when I'm done. So we've checked everything, so we know that each and every single thing inside the project media is the correct kind of WAV file. There's no other files to confuse it. So it's like as clean could be. So we want to make sure that we do another save as to make sure that we're you know, using like the most up-to-date standalone Vegas file. That way, in case something happens, we can always come back to this and go back to the version before that, because you just never know. So I'm going to put a 1 after that because it's the same date. Actually, I'll put a -1. Actually, I had a different key. -1. Okay, so now it's time to export. So File, Export. My guy is using Pro Tools, so I'm going to select Pro Tools. And just so you can see my Vegas project files, this file is like where all of the Vegas project files are. This is where the AAF project file is, but this is where I want to put the export. So the export itself without the project files, you don't want the Vegas project files inside with the rest of your AAF, because when it exports the AAF, it's basically going to make you know, a copy of each of your project file. And so when you want to like zip all that up and send it to your sound guy, you don't want it to also zip up the Vegas file, because his Pro Tools is not going to know what to do with that, and you want to reduce the amount of confusion as much as possible. So we're in a clean folder, there's nothing in there. So this is going to be the name of the AAF, it's Pro Tools AAF. We're going to hit save, and you'll see it down here working. 10%, 13, making the AAF almost done. Okay, so this error, don't worry about it at all. Basically what this means is that it's not really even an error, it's just telling you these are the things that we didn't do on the export. So all the times that you have the volume turned down, or if you have some other audio effect on any of your audio clips, it's going to ignore that in the export because it doesn't know how to translate that, you know, for Pro Tools and such. So the next time you're doing a big project or a Sony Vegas project, don't bother with editing your audio because it's not going to translate over to your sound guy. So so why did I do it on my thing? That's just because, you know, some audio is just like so much louder than the rest of it that it's distracting when I'm editing. So I can't pay attention to other things because the levels are going all over the place. So I just, you know, quickly turn down the volume on this one or on that one so I can make it listenable. Okay, so we're gonna hit OK. So now that's done. So we're gonna check it out. We're here, 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 here. Looking for the folder. AAF, export AAF. Okay, so this is the export. So this is the actual AAF right there. That's the text file that it made, and it made a copy of every single one. So so that's nice because both in here and in here you have a copy of every single audio file in there, so you're kind of doubly protected. So the next thing you want to do here is to, let me try select all and zip it. What was it? Compress and email. Yeah, select all and compress and email. And you want to make sure it's a zip file, or, you know, this part I can't help you with because it depends on whatever kind of zip program you have. Let's just do normal and hit OK. So that's the export. And my computer is going to try to open up Outlook to email it because I still haven't changed that setting, and it takes a while for it to open up the Outlook. But basically, I don't know why it keeps asking me that. Basically, the zip file that you just made will have all the audio files plus the actual AAF, and you can send that to your sound guy. Now if you it says cannot email, that's fine because I don't want to email, because I'll just send this by itself. Let's see how big this is. Oh, it says 122, so it's too big to email anyway. So I'd have to use Dropbox or WeTransfer or something like that. So yeah, so if you don't have that option, I guess you can always put it on a USB drive and send it to your sound guy, or somehow otherwise physically get it to them. I like to use online like Dropbox or WeTransfer because I use PC, and a lot of artists and people like that use Apple. So and USB drives and things don't always like to mix with PC and Apple. So you can sidestep all of that with using WeTransfer or Dropbox. So I hope that you guys found this helpful. I know I definitely could have used a video like this when I was struggling, So good luck to you. Feel free to ask a question. I'm probably not going to know the answer, but feel free to ask it. And I hope you guys have a great day. Bye.